3, 2, 1. Now we're on. Okay. It's Mornings on the Beach. I'm Charlie Sharp, and joining me this morning, it is LA music icon Dan Navarro. Good morning, Dan. How's your day?
Good morning, my man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Man, we were chatting with some good stuff before we turned on record, but that's okay. We'll get back into there. So I wanted to start this whole thing off because I looked at your bio and it's just so much going on. I want to start this thing off. Let's go back in the beginning.
Okay.
What drew you to songwriting? Because as we talked about earlier, that's probably not the coolest thing to meet girls, when you're on stage. Everybody wants to be the guitar guy with the guitar and the microphone on stage, right? But you were a songwriter.
Well, I started as a songwriter partly because I grew up in an era of the great singer-songwriters, the sort of Bob Dylan, Jackson Brown, James Taylor, Crosby, Stills, and Nash was the era I was growing up. And so all of the artists that and of course a Beatles freak, all the artists that I admired wrote their own songs. There did reach a point when I sort of heard that it was an easier way to break into getting a record deal if you got some kind of publishing deal. Well, what wound up happening was that we succeeded, my late partner Eric Lowen and I succeeded with our songs long before we succeeded as artists. So we had these going careers as songwriters, and we're sitting there but we really wanted to be the artists, and it didn't. And so we kept pushing that, and it finally clicked. But it took quite a few more years.
And we should say, so you've written Pat Benatar, the Eagles. I mean, the list just goes on and on.
Well, yeah, but the stuff that I've written was Pat Benatar recorded the big hit "We Belong," wrote a bunch of songs with the Bangles, for the Bangles. The Triplets had a top 15 hit. Dave Edmunds, Dionne Warwick, Nile Rodgers, overseas hits. Other people have recorded my songs. A charity record was put together where Jackson Brown and Keb Mo recorded some stuff as well. And but then about 4 or 5 years after we cracked it as songwriters, we started making our own records, and it wound up with 6 records of original material, a covers album and a Christmas album, and then another half dozen live records, total of 14 albums that we put out over a 20-year period. And that ended in 2008, 2009. My partner got sick and had to retire. He passed away 4 years later. And so I went solo in 2006 and have been hitting the road ever since. It's been 31 years on the road steadily.
I was reading one of your bios, and I know for you, for that transition, because you were used to writing with someone and kind of having someone to hang out with, right? So the transition from having someone around and then being kind of on your own, no one really to hang out with and write, was a difficult one for you, but you did make it through it.
Well, I had to prove to myself that I didn't need a collaborator to finish a song. And that I had something worth saying on my own. And I had started out writing alone. I didn't start collaborating till I'd been writing songs actively for about 10 years. But then I got to the point where it was only collaborating. And it was a great way to get songs written and a great way to open yourself up to someone else's vocabulary. I mean, I wrote a hip hop hit in that came out in 1990 that I don't do hip hop music. I don't hate it. I just don't do it. Well, this guy wrote tracks, and he did the track. Together we did the melody, and I wrote the lyrics, and all of a sudden, boom, there you are.
Wow.
So collaborating was a good way to expand your horizons.
Who knew Dave Navarro in hip hop?
Well, Dan Navarro. Dave's my cousin. Right. No, it happens every single day of my life. Dave is my first cousin, and he's a big, famous rock star. And so people confuse us because it's not like it's Dave and George. I mean, the names sound similar.
The D's.
I would love his looks, but now he's younger than I am, but we're real tight. We're close cousins. We're great friends, and we're close cousins. But every single day, someone calls me Dave. Weirdly, even people who don't, I just thought you were Dave. I don't know about this other guy. Who's this other guy you're talking about? And well, what have you been under a rock? Well, I don't listen to music, but I thought you were Dave. So it's just really weird how it happens.
So, Dan, I know you have a new fun project you're working on. It's you in a van, I think you said.
Me in a van.
You're kind of going back to your roots.
Right.
Touring.
When I started out touring, I started touring in a van with my partner Lowen, and three backing players, and it was just the five of us in this van barnstorming the country, pulling a small U-Haul trailer.
Wow.
But, COVID shut down, stomped me. I was on the road, 100 days a year in, year out without fail. And all of a sudden it dropped dead on March 9th. And that was the end of it. So I started streaming, and I've been streaming a lot. We'll talk about that. But all of a sudden at some point I kind of went, man, I want to get back out there. How do I do this? How do I not expose myself to lots of illness? And it was a lot of airplanes. I had done 17 one-way legs between January 4th and March 9th of this past year.
Wow.
And I was flying all the time and then renting a car and driving around. So I thought, man, I want to maybe I get a van and a camper van and something I can pull over by the side of the road or pull under a Cracker Barrel and sleep in the parking lot. And one appeared in January that a friend of mine had built for herself to camp in, decided she wanted a bigger one, was selling it, and I grabbed it. So I'm going across country starting April 21st for shows all over the country, and I'm calling it Nomad Dan.
Nomad Dan. Yeah.
And going out there. And if, some shows might get canceled. So I might play in driveways or parking lots or in public parks and just go, hi, how you doing? Want to hear some music? They're depressing. Want to hear the most depressing songs in the world? Come on over. And, I've got a few fans who have already said, well, you can play my driveway. And I'm just going to go out and make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact, because we all know you're in a position where you don't have to do this, but being out in with the people forget that once you've had that in your life, for that just to go away because the record company's done or whatever the tour is done, that's not the way it works. You love to be in front of the crowd and be with the people and get that reaction.
It's really true. And the way that I've toured, I was never home for more than 6 weeks at a time without going out.
Oh, wow.
In my whole career. I mean, literally my whole career, never. And all of a sudden, I'm home 24/7 for what's turned into 14 months. And that was weird, really, really weird at first, because I wasn't used to it. I mean, if I'm home more than 6 weeks, I start going, I got to go someplace. Can I maybe just go hang out at the airport and, just watch the planes take off? And so this new approach really, first of all, it's revitalized this sense of getting out there. I'm discovering that people are starved for that kind of contact.
Absolutely, yes.
And it's turning out really great. But the idea is to continue to tell a different kind of story. To, like I say, just show up places and play. I'm going to start doing hospitals in the parking lot for the shift change when the shifts are changing, mainly for the hospital workers. And I'm not going to go around patients. And actually the hospitals are all into it, but they don't necessarily want me inside.
Yeah.
They don't want to take the chance on spreading anything. I'm double vaccinated, so I'm cool, but that's kind of not the point. So I'm going to play parking lots. I'm doing a show on, I want to say the 25th, the 26th of April, where I'm going to be playing for a theater troupe from Chicago that's decided to respond to COVID by moving to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and all living in a house together in isolation.
Wow.
So I'm going to go play for them. Turns out one of the guys in the troupe is the friend of a friend, and so he's going to play, and we're just going to make something happen instead of waiting for something to happen, or, so if there's no booking, I'll go make a booking.
And I'm going to book you here now. When we get back into the studio, I want you to bring your guitar and come sing for us live in the studio.
Oh, you are so on.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things to do. Absolutely. Is to come and just do it live in the room.
Yes.
And, it's, I've done hundreds of those, as you know, and I'm looking really, really forward. That'd be great, man. I can't wait.
And well, I've been watching your YouTube series, and it's just you with the guitar and the microphone, and I absolutely am mesmerized. I love it. That is just the way music should be.
Well, I set up here, March. I got home from the road March 9th, and March 15th, I'm finding out that we're about to get locked down hard. The girl I was dating came out. Her birthday was the 16th, or maybe the 13th, and we were going to go out for her birthday, and we got canceled. And the restaurant said, yeah, we can't do that for a while. I started reading what it was, and I went, what am I going to do? What are we going to do? So I decided to stream. And I basically put a stream up on Facebook. Hi, everybody, here I am. And, a couple thousand views. I'm like, okay. I'll see you tomorrow. And I did 30 minutes. And then at the end of that, I went, oh, I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Turned into 2 hours. And I did 14 days in a row.
Wow.
And then I started a steady 5-month string of 6 days a week, 5 days of music. And on the sixth day was stories, road stories. Here's how we made this record. Here's that time that I met this person. Here's the first, and I kind of went through our chronology 2 or 3 years at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And people are showing up, and they're showing up every day. So it's turned into, I called it Songs from the Corona Zone. Yesterday was episode number 228 in 12 months, 14 months. And I'm just going to keep going. Changing the name in a week from Songs from the Corona Zone to Nomad Dan Road Songs, Highway Songs. And that's so we're going to start on April 24th with Nomad Dan #1. And we'll see how far we take it. But I don't think I'll ever stop streaming the rest of my career.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely the way to go. So, Dan, I know you've worked with a bunch of people. Can we have one of those stories, a crazy story? I don't know. I love crazy stories. Anything you want to talk about that?
Well, there's loads of things. There was a period. Okay, so we're talking. This must have been 1986 going into 1987, and New Year's is happening. Now, Lowen, my late partner, he passed on in 2012, but he and I worked together steadily from 81 till he passed away in 2012. We're having New Year's dinner, and his wife's best friend, actually at that point in time was his girlfriend's best friend, is over. And her name is Susanna Hoffs, and she's in the Bangles. Yeah. And so we're all hanging out. And Eric and I at that point were kind of having a little bit of a tiff creatively. Like we were at a stalled spot. Like, I don't know, maybe it's time to start working with other people. Maybe we should rethink this. But we're still pals. We lived less than a block apart. So we came over for New Year's. Now we're watching the Bangles on Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve. But I'm with a Bangle and she's on live television because their segment had been taped.
Yeah.
So I'm watching the Bangles on TV. I'm sitting with a Bangle and with Mary Lowen, or Mary Petrie at that point in time, and Eric Lowen. And Sue says, we should write a song together. And I look at Eric, and in a split second, we send these. Well, I don't know. We were talking about maybe not working together anymore. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we should really rethink that. I mean, I don't know. This could be a really good opportunity. We can't, but who knows? But I mean, we got these issues, but we could solve the issues. You think we can do them? Blah, blah, blah. That happened in about 2 seconds, and we both looked at her and went, "Yeah, let's do it." And we sat down and we wrote a song called "I'll Set You Free" that ended up on their final studio album called Everything.
Yeah.
We ended up with 2 songs on that record, one that we wrote with her and one that we wrote with Michael Steele, the bass player. But in that moment, to take an entire a discussion that might have taken an hour or 5 hours to like, well, what do you think? I mean, I don't know. We're at an impasse here, and maybe we want different. Almost not like breaking up, but like maybe we really needed to rethink our relationship. All she had to say is, let's write together, and we solved that problem in a split second. Oh, good gosh. Then there was the time coming home from, I've got a bunch of them. Coming home from a tour, we had finished up our last show in Minneapolis, and we kind of said to the guys, so the show's over, should we go get a hotel? They went, can we just drive home now? We'd been on the road for 6 straight weeks. We want to see our girlfriends. One guy wanted to see his wife. The others want to see their girlfriends. And so we left. And we drove all night, and we were trading drivers. We were in a van pulling a trailer. It's about 5 a.m. I wake up, and the bass player who'd been driving since 2 a.m. says, hey, I'm getting a little tired. Can you spot me? And I go, sure, no problem. The rest of the band was asleep. Mm-hmm. He goes, great, I'll pull over. I go, nah, don't pull over. I really need you to help me. He goes, yeah, don't pull over. What are you talking about? Put the car in cruise control. Okay. Great. Now sit forward, pull the little lever down at the base of the seat, and I flattened out his seat. And I reached between and I grabbed the wheel and went, slide out.
Wow.
And he slid out and I slid in, and we changed drivers without stopping.
Wow.
Band woke up in the middle of that and they went, don't ever do that again. You guys are out of your minds. You could have killed all of us. The car didn't swerve. The van didn't swerve, but I was a little crazy in those days and decided that would be a fun thing to do.
Wow. All right. So more stories like that, and music, of course, coming your way on, is it Nomad Dan Highway?
Nomad Dan Highway Songs. It'll be a probably 3 times a week stream. I'm not sure when it's going to be. My normal streams have been 5 p.m. Monday on Facebook, 5 p.m. Wednesday on YouTube, Saturday at 11 a.m. This is all California time on Twitch. Great new platform that I've been doing every week. But because I've got my own shows now and real shows and long drives, I'm not sure when they're going to happen. I'm just telling the audience, keep your eye on my Facebook, Dan Navarro music page, and I'll announce them. I'm still going to stream at least 3 days a week, maybe even a little more. Just don't know from where. Got to make sure there's Wi-Fi. Got to make sure that there's a strong enough signal. Got to make sure I don't have a 6-hour drive and then a show the same night. But I'll pull over by the side of the road. Some of these rest stops have Wi-Fi. Truck stops do. Turn on the Wi-Fi, set up the camera in the van, turn the van into a little studio, turn the lights on, and how you doing? Nomad Dan on the road. And sing some songs and tell some stories.
I know you've told us a lot. Is there anything the world doesn't know about you, Dan?
Oh, good God. Those records are sealed, my friend. The thing is, I've also done a good amount of work as a voice actor and a singer in movies. And that came up kind of by accident, where somebody called and said, what are you doing today? You want to sing a jingle in my garage for $100? And I met somebody on that session who started contracting me for jingle work, initially in Spanish. That turned into movie work in English. Then it turned into voiceovers. Then it turned into, and the other stuff is still going. I've sung on probably 500 commercials. I've done about 30 movies as a singer and voice actor. Lately, the voice acting part has been picking up. A fan of my band's calls me one day and says, I know that you occasionally do voice work. How do you feel about doing some noise voices with 4 other actors in this new animated series that's coming out? It's union work, Screen Actors Guild. It doesn't pay that well because of some rules. But what do you think? And I said, what do I got to do? Well, they'll sit there and there'll be a crowd scene and you're sitting there going with 4 other people. It's called Walla, right?
Yes.
So I do this. Turned out the series was Family Guy. It ran for 2 seasons. It got canceled for 2 years and it came back. But I've done over 200 episodes of Family Guy, almost 200 episodes of American Dad, 50 episodes of The Cleveland Show. And I'm still doing the show from lockdown. I've done 35 episodes here in my living room in the last year. And so I do that stuff too. And I get paid for sitting there and going. So those are called efforts. There's a rule of thumb in the Walla world. When a male does efforts, it sounds like he's in the bathroom. When a female does efforts, it sounds like she's in bed. And, imagine like you're picking up a heavy box. I get paid for doing that. I did a movie a couple of years ago called The Playmobil Movie, where I sang a song. I played the Viking leader, and I sang this song called Brothers in Arms. It's on Spotify. Silly wench, you're the kind of girl who knows, and sang it like that, right? Well, I've also got to do sword fighting scene. That's my job. That's the weird part. My next door neighbor, I live in a duplex, and my next door neighbor is hearing me one night do some parts of animal sounds for Family Guy. And he's hearing me going, and he's hearing this through the walls going, what's going on over there? This is my crazy life. I mean, I did an audition to be an insane kamikaze gonzo helicopter. Not helicopter pilot, but an animated feature where I was playing this helicopter going, I come! This is my job. That's me. Hey, I'm working here.
There you go.
It's pretty weird. I mean, I'm a lucky guy, and I take it seriously, but I also take it with a grain of salt. But it's just mostly, I don't know how this happened, but the way it happened was, I'm open, and I'll go for it. And if somebody says, do you think maybe you can, I don't even wait. Yeah, I can do that. Oh, be a helicopter? Sure. Not, like Michael Winslow back in the day from the Police Academy movies. And it's weird. It's fun. I get to do this, and I'll continue to do Family Guy from the road out there in the van. I've got almost set up to do
All right, that is a Dan Navarro, the highwayman,
that.
highway van man.
Yes, Van Man, Van Dan. I want to start a festival called Burning Van or Vanaroo or Burning Dan. I don't know.
Dan
It's
the
been
van.
an interesting, the thing is that I think that people have been responding to lockdown one of two ways. You either just cave in and do absolutely nothing but eat pie and watch TV and put on 50 pounds, or you get creative going, I'm going to go berserk if I don't think of something interesting to do with my time. And I've been really fortunate that there was resonance to me starting these streams and that opportunities have come up to do more different kinds of work. Um, if I'm the poster boy for making lemonade, or certainly my community is, I'm not going to take sole credit for that kind of thing because there's a lot of us in my community of musicians and actors that are finding ways to stay engaged and to keep it going. Let's be the lemonade makers, man.
All right. Thank you so much, Dan. That was great stuff.
Charlie, it's a real pleasure. I'll keep you posted on the travels, and I'll let you know when I'm back around here because I would love to come down and play for you.
We'd love to have you in the studio when we get back. All right, Dan Navarro. Now, do a liner for me.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Our morning show is called Mornings on the Beach. So, hi, this is Dan Navarro. You're listening to Mornings on the Beach.
And is there a network name or just listening to Mornings on the
we're
Beach?
On three
Mornings
stations.
on the Beach with Charlie Sharp.
So you can say, don't put, because I'm on with three other guys, and I want to bring one of the guys worked at a rock station. So I didn't tell him I was talking to you, but when he hears this, he's going to go crazy.
Who's the guy?
Mike Stark.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so you might know Mike from, and then Danny Lemos is the other guy. He worked with Rick Dees on Kiss FM.
I remember his name. Absolutely.
Yeah, so those are the two other guys who I'm on the morning show with. So just say Mornings on the Beach. Let's see, if you can say 22 West Radio.
Okay, I'm just writing this down so I don't.
Mm-hmm. That's our big network, and then you can say KLBP. Actually, no. Say 22 West Radio, 99.1 FM, and BPM Beats 1. Those are the three.
And BPM Beats
1. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy to do multiple takes too to mix it up a little bit, and especially if I make a mistake.
No, you did this, dude. You're way. You know what you're doing. I'm gonna tell you.
Hi, I'm Dan Navarro, and you're listening to Mornings on the Beach on 22 Rest Radio. How about saying West instead of Rest? Hi, I'm Dan Navarro, and you're listening to Mornings on the Beach on 22 West Radio. This is Dan Navarro, and I'm on Mornings on the Beach at 99.1 FM. Hey there, I'm Dan Navarro, the Nomad Dan, and you're listening to Mornings on the Beach on KLBP. Hey, everybody. It's Mornings on the Beach, and I'm Dan Navarro saying you're about to have a good time here on KPM Beats 1.
I'm sorry, BPM Beats 1.
Why did I say K? Because I read the wrong. BPM Beats 1.
No problem. No problem.
Hey, this is Dan Navarro, and you're listening to Mornings on the Beach on BPM Beats 1. This is Dan Navarro, and it's Mornings on the Beach. It's time for a good time on 22 Rest. Hey, I'm Dan Navarro, and you're listening to Mornings on the Beach. What could be better on 22 West Radio? So are any of these grouped together, or because I did them all separately?
We'll group them together, but we do them separate because it's too much to do it all together. So we do it separate. Yeah.
So let me give you some modules.
Okay.
You'll know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm Dan Navarro. Hi, I'm Dan Navarro. You're listening to Mornings on the Beach. This is Mornings on the Beach on 22 West Radio. On 22 West Radio. On 99.1 FM. 99.1 FM. On 99.1 FM. On KLBP. On KLBP. On BPM Beats 1. On BPM Beats 1. Yeah. You're going to have a good time. Stick around. It'll be fun. You can cut any of that together. Make anything you want.
Wow. Thank you.
You know where I got the experience of doing that was video games. Video game actors, all the copies on a crawl. And you read each line twice and move on to the next. And everything's designed to be organized by gameplay. So the whole idea is to just leave it in a way that when it assembles, it doesn't sound like I'm going, hi there, Charlie. It's really nice to see you today. That it's got to have a form of consistency. And that's why I just gave you some modules. You could take any bit of that, make anything you want.
Wow, thank you so much. That's $100 at least.
And I promise that I'll give you $103 job. Okay?
No, dude, you did that. Thank you so much. And again, when we get back to normal, we'd love to have you come down and be in the studio with us.
I appreciate it, man. That's going to be
fun. Danny would go crazy when and I maybe not tell him, we surprise him and just walk in when we're live on the air. That'd be fun too.
Exactly. Oh, I've got one more story for you.
Okay.
I'm not even sure I'm supposed to tell this.
Uh-oh.
So the Bangles are cutting my song. I wasn't in the studio. And the producer, David Segerson, who had done the David and David record a couple years before and had a hit with that, said to Susanna, I heard that Olivia Newton-John gets naked in the studio to do her vocals so that she really can get completely into it with no restrictions. Oh my God, well, I have to try that. So they set up baffles so that no one could see. It wasn't that kind of thing. And they turned all the lights down. And I think she got down to just her knickers. But she did it. And then when she was done, David said, yeah, I was totally kidding. Olivia Newton-John never did that.
Nice.
My kind of practical joke.
She's going to kill you now.
She's going to kill. Well, again, nobody saw her. She told me the story, but nobody saw her. She was still safe. But I just think that that's particularly cool. And, I actually think it's one of the coolest things. I think it's cool, but then I'm a guy, so maybe I would. But she wasn't violated. Nobody saw her. They put up baffles so that literally she would be completely private, but she would get that sense of freedom. And he goes, yeah, I was just totally kidding you.
Did she sound like it on her vocal?
She did a wonderful vocal on that, to tell the truth. But she's also an amazing singer with a magnificent voice. She's still at it. I've seen some streams she's done lately, and she's still got it. And I mean, that first album came out in 1983? It's been some time. She's a magnificent person. I haven't seen it. Last time I saw her was about 5 years ago. I came to a show she did, and she invited me in a little tiny place called the Cafe Largo at the Coronet Theater here in town, and it was in the little room for the after show. And she had Ben Montench and Fred Armisen and John Bryan, and she goes, dude, she kind of looked at me and did the come hither with the come here, and we did one of the songs we wrote together, and then did a Monkees song.
Wow.
Or actually, Michael Nesmith's song called Some of Shelley's Blues. It was a great song.
Wow. Okay, you have your own podcast. You know that, right?
Apparently so. Yeah, Road Stories. Watch Me Lose a Friend. I will sit there with one of those number tallies on, they just deleted my name from their phone book because I was telling them about the time that they were doing drugs with the president of the record company. And, oh, my God. Well, some of the stories, my friend, are... they're tame by today's standards, especially with things like legal weed.
Sure.
When we actually smoked a joint in a restaurant, in a public place, at a Middle Eastern restaurant in Chicago. And the waiter came up and literally went, okay, I have to tell you, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You're fine. You do fine. Cool. Crazy.
Now we just do that in LA. I was just out the other day and they.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
well, it's a different world, man. It's a different. I mean, I grew up in the world where you're going to jail for a long time, son. And so that's over. No, it's there've been, like I say, I mean, I know he would signed off and we're still talking, but I've been really blessed to have had a
No,
good
I'm
time doing.
recording all this.
Good, good. You're welcome to use whatever you want. And Sue, I'm sorry, honey. I really am sorry. It was. I just think it's a great story, and okay. So Sue, this is from me to you. I'm also proud of you for going for it, and I mean that completely sincerely. For not sitting there going, I'm not doing that. Nobody saw you. It was safe. You were safe. But I also think that it reflected your willingness to do what it took to get the best vocal you could do. That's from me to you, my friend. Think you can believe that?
Done right. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. I might have to send money. Anyway, brother, it's great. It's been a great one. Thank you.
Yeah, let me just stop this and make sure. I hope it can. I'm sure it did, but hold on one second. Stop recording.